I mean, I get that it's supposed to be like we're kind of like the daughter of Elizabeth, but in reality, we're much closer to a like one-to-one clone of her than a daughter of her. Very, I mean, we have the same exact. Well, I mean, I know they gave it the same voice actor, but same voice, same, kind of ingenuity type, being able to get stuff done. Anyway, beyond the point, the game is finished. So, as always, with every title we do, now that we are at the end, let's do a mini review. So I gotta say, so far, this is probably my choice for 2017 Game of the Year. Now I know that's a tall order, especially considering that we are just now getting into March. But out of everything else I've played so far, this game takes it. I mean, the combat, super fun. I like how, I mean, you have, Melee felt more like it was just an auxiliary, whereas the true combat was ranged. But it didn't ever get dull. Like, even though, the focal point was around the bow, it's like you had your regular bow, you had the precision bow for like sniping or the tear blast arrows, you had the elemental bow to pop off canisters and use corruption, you had the tripwires if you wanted to do that, you had the slingshot, which was great for quickly applying elemental statuses, you had the blast sling, which I barely used, but it was nice for just like huge bursts of damages on enemies that were grouped up. Like, all in all, I feel like the game gave you a lot of variety. Like, each weapon felt distinct. Like, even though there were 3 bows, they each had a distinct purpose that was useful. So I think they did an excellent job there, making the combat fun. The dodging and the hitboxes felt really tight, like easily on par with like Dark Souls hitbox porn. Like, some of the dodges I would do, like dodging under enemies to avoid them and shit, it was good. Like, it was good. Music, obviously a great music score in this. I didn't like some of the voice actors. I think all the voice actors did a good job, but I feel like some of them, like the war chief, she kind of had that, like, she's been smoking 3 packs of Newports a day since she was 16 feel, and I was like, I don't know if it fits. But I think they did a good job regardless with the voices. I do think they could have worked on the lip sync a little bit more. It seemed like the mocap was a little half-assed in some spots, but the actual voice acting itself I think was good. I really liked the music. Thought the music was pretty well. Like, the music always, I mean, it didn't stand out. There wasn't really a point where the music like stood out like, oh my god, this is amazing. But I don't feel like the music was ever poor enough that it, like, I noticed it. Like, it wasn't good enough that there was any one moment that I was like, man, this is an amazing soundtrack. But there also wasn't a moment where I was like, God, I'm tired of hearing the same fucking song. Like, it just kind of blended really well. So while there weren't like any amazing overtones that really drew my attention, I think they did a very good job of working it into the game, because music should be a extension of your game. It should not be the focus, unless it's like a music game, but that's a different story. Let's talk about the plot. Plot, I really enjoyed. I liked the mystery. I mean, like, halfway through the game, I figured out, okay, some shit went down, robots, AI. I kind of got that, but even then, there were still a lot of little mysteries that I didn't get my answer to until I continue getting more and more of the books. Still don't know how Hades got corrupted, because my understanding is that they had sealed the shit. So maybe, I mean, Gaia should have shut down the robots before she was deployed, which begs the question, if the robots were shut down, how did Hades get infected? So that's one thing I'll have to look up after the fact, see if somebody knows. Maybe it's in a log that I missed somewhere. Ted, man. Fucking Ted. What a douchebag. That's all I'll say on that matter. I ranted about that enough in a previous episode. I did like the idea of how, like, the overarching bad guy here was an AI. It was very cold, very calculated, but despite that, it had, like, human allies that it had manipulated. And I think, what's his name? Captain Douchebag, who is the God, what was his name? I don't know. The guy that tried to kill Aloy at the start. I feel like his boss fight was a little bit of a letdown. At the same time, I do think I was probably more prepared than most players going into it. Like, I very easily... I mean, for Christ's sake, I had time to dismantle his entire forces and then, you know, take my time picking up loot before I finished him off with a triple headshot. So, wasn't really a challenge, but I did have a lot of prep time for that. The final boss fight... I will say it's better than I expected. First seeing a Deathbringer, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I fucking eat Deathbringers for breakfast. This isn't going to be a challenge. But I feel like they increased the health pool enough of it that it didn't feel... Oh, my controller fell asleep. It didn't feel like it was necessarily overkill. And I think they did a good job with, like, working in the other animals that were attacking you. And then you had the clock ticking down. It felt like it did feel like it was a race against time for the most part, which I enjoyed. It didn't feel overly difficult, like, oh fuck, I got a minute left, I gotta beat this. But at the same time, it didn't feel like a walk in the park. Like, I was constantly moving, having to shoot my slingshot, having to hit the heat sinks, having to shoot my slingshot, which, in aspect, it's pretty easy in essence, you know. But there was enough action going on that I had to keep on my toes. I do think the armor I had is pretty overpowered. But I mean, it's a single-player game. You want to feel super empowered, so I think that's okay. Main character, I really like how you get the... Like, I mean, the choice differences aren't huge, but I like how you get that little impact on Aloy. Like, you know, the hardened, the caring, or kind of the thoughtful responses. Even though I picked thoughtful for almost everything, I thought those all turned out pretty well. And she did have quite a bit of snappy dialogue throughout, so... All in all, definitely a main character that I enjoyed. Oh, let's see. What else to discuss? I mean, overall, it was a really good game. Like, I think probably my favorite thing about this... Let's talk about my favorite thing and then my least favorite things. Favorite thing, the environment, hands down. Like, in general, I'm not a big fan of apocalypse-style games. Like, you know, I like playing Fallout, but... I hate the whole, oh, it's the apocalypse and everything is broken and dreary and blah, blah, blah. And this game was an apocalypse-style game, but it took a different approach of, like, this is what happens after the apocalypse. You know, the world has been rebuilt, it's covered, it's grown, and all in all, I think it gave you a very interesting world to explore, especially with kind of the scenery clash. Like, I mean, you had the tribal lands, which were, like, really chill, and then you had the very vibrant cities, and then you had the deserts, and then you had the lush jungles, and then you had, like, the cauldrons, and they were super mechanical, and I feel that variety, I mean, you get the up north area, it was all cold and frozen, like, there was a lot of variety in the environment and the levels, and I really enjoyed that. Definitely my favorite part, like, explore, I mean, hell, I did two, what are they, 6-hour live streams, like, in a row, just from how much I enjoyed the environments. So definitely a big fan of the environments here. I mean, the controlling of the robo-dinos, that's a close second for my favorite thing. That's pretty awesome, but I felt like, I don't know, I mean, maybe it's because I took a stealth playthrough, so the only time I ever controlled the dinos was usually through stealth. And, like, even though you could knock them down and control them, at that point I'm like, you know, why do I want to take over you? You're, like, already half beaten up. You're about to die. You're not worth taking up. So I feel like there was... Like, the controlling was fun, but I think it could have been a little bit better. Like, I think there should have been a better way to combat control them. Aside from just, like, knocking them down. Like a... Almost like a sweet spot technique, like in a lot of games, you know, like Dark Souls, for example. You have the parry, and when you get that super precise movement, it really pays off. You get that last minute parry, and you take people out. I think it would have been fun if there was something where it's like a super well prompt dodge allowed you to, like, slide under the animal and plug straight into it and take control of it then. Kind of like a clutch dodge maneuver, if you will. But that's not a bad thing necessarily. I mean, it's just something I think would have been cool to see. Least favorite thing. Now, this is hard because I really liked a lot of this. I'm trying to think what my least favorite aspect of this game is. if I had to think of a least favorite aspect, I think I would have to give it to the lack of difference in weapon tiers. Like, as you upgrade your weapons, you get an additional ammunition type, and you get an additional slot, but you didn't really get to see, it wasn't more damage. Like, the basic green bow, damage-wise, is identical to the purple bow. Except in the purple bow, you have the hard tip arrows, the regular arrows, the fire arrows, and you have 3 slots. So obviously those slots can supplement your damage, but I feel like a higher end weapon should have a higher end base damage. And that was another thing with the slot system. I don't like that was completely random. And this is a complaint I have in any game where you have something like that. Like the same with the Bloodborne and the shards. I feel like you should always be able to combine your glyphs or shards or gems or whatever they are into better ones. Like if I have 3 that are blue in damage, I should be able to combine those to make a purple that's damage. Or if I have 3 purple that are damage, I should be able to like refine them. Because like, I saw some of them, like, some of them had rolls that were like damage and handling and tear, or ice and damage and corruption. And then other ones, it was like just ice. And I did feel like that was a little bit too randomized for my particular enjoyment. Like, I like random loot. Obviously, I like Neo and the random rolls on loot you can get. But when your weapons are purely supplemented by these, and there's so much variety in kind of what you can have on that loot, whether it's going to be, just a straight damage mod or damage and a bunch of other things. I feel like there has to be a way to combine them together to create your ultimate weapon. And that goes back to kind of the single player thing of empowering the player. Like, I want to be able to create that super god tier bow that has 3 augments of like 45 damage, 45 tear, and 45 handling. Like, all 3 of them have those 3 affixes, just so I can be like boom, 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 and just like rapid fire out super powered arrows. That would make me excited. I mean, it's especially at the end of the game after you've accomplished a ton. Let me go around destroying whatever the hell I want with my super bow. That's not hurting anybody else. But aside from that, I mean, really not much to really dislike about this game. I mean, obviously there was douchebag Ted, but that's not going to make me dislike the game. That just makes me dislike Ted. I think it would have been fun to have like a glider of sorts. I mean, there wasn't a ton of verticality in this game. Like most of the times where you went up really high, there was usually a zip line you could take down, or a rappel line. But I feel like just given this environment, being able to craft even a basic glider would have been really cool. Just like flying over and seeing the environment, I think that would have been really nice. Replayability, I guess, is kind of a weak point. It's always hard with games like this, because on one end of the stick, like, I would not do a second playthrough of this game. I wouldn't. I know the story. It's a super story-heavy style game. I managed to get almost all the upgrades. I had, like, one of every weapon. So I don't feel a second playthrough will be warranted. That being said, there's still a lot of content in this playthrough to do. Like right now, let me see, I was at 33 episodes before I started recording. This one will probably be broken up into 3 parts given how long it's going. So 36, we'll say 25 minutes on average. That's 900 minutes, so that's 15 hours plus the 2 live streams is 28 hours, and I still haven't. So I'm at roughly 28 hours of gameplay with almost all of the side quests in the game left. So if I include all those side quests in, I would say that's going to gain me at least another 15 hours. So you're looking at 40 to 50 hours of gameplay in one playthrough, and that doesn't count the, like, I'm just going to roam around and capture dinosaurs and, set up traps and see how fast I could kill stuff goofery that you can do. So I do feel like the game has a lot to keep you interested, but I don't feel it has the potential to do a second playthrough. I'm curious to see what kind of DLC this would get. I feel like it was too big of a title for them to not go for DLC. Like, I mean, as successful as this has been, it begs for some kind of downloadable content. But you know, with Hades destroyed and all the robots shut down, like, where do you go? You know, there's just more robots are going to resurface, or you know, more Shadow Karja bad guys come out. Like, I feel like they kind of closed the door on DLC, unless it's like an episodic type thing where, you know, you play as Elizabeth and that would take too much away from the core gameplay, because you wouldn't be running around shooting a bow. You'd be like solving puzzles the whole damn time. So if they do create a DLC for this, I'll be interested to see what it is, because just based on this, I feel like the door's kind of been closed. I do want to know more about, what's his name? Was it Roth? Rost is what it was. Like, why? Still don't know, why was he exiled? Like, I'm sure there's a fucking note somewhere. Like, I can go to the hut and find, like, Rost's journal or something and read it. And figure out some stuff, but couple minor questions closing out the game like that, and how Hades got infected, if they had sealed the bulkhead stuff, and Gaia Prime was safe. And I hope the game has, like, a post-credit of, like, you know, yeah, everything's better, now Gaia can rebuild the world, or, I mean, that could be the DLC, is there's a manufacture, or Gaia somehow malfunctions and starts creating bad robots. They introduce a whole new set of, like, robo-animals, and the mission is you have to stop Gaia, and it now becomes, like, it's a world just for humanity, and humanity has to make it work. That could actually make an interesting DLC. Anyway, I have said just about everything I have to say, so let's see if we get a post-credit here. Hit the skip button and see what happens.
Hello, old friend. Remember me? We've still so much to discuss. So much you never revealed. Your masters, for example. The ones who sent the signal.
Exactly.
Knowledge has its rewards, don't you think? Well, let's begin.
Oh, no. No, we're not waking this thing up. Come on, man. Okay, I take back what I said. Things are definitely not closed for DLC. Silence, man. Always being a sneaky bitch. I like how he captures fucking Hades in, like, a birdcage, basically, and is like, I'm gonna find some stuff out. Congratulations on defeating Hades and protecting Gaia's dream of an Earth Reborn. Just because you completed Aloy's main story doesn't mean you finished the game. You are free to continue exploring and complete any unfinished quests and activities. The state of the world has been restored to just before the looming shadow. Awesome. You keep all loot and experience from your successful playthroughs. Thank you for playing the Horizon team. Perfect. I was gonna say, I was like, if they make me, like, have to redo, like, if, I mean, you can't just leave the city in disarray. That would be kind of shitty. Go to the Palace of the Sun. Skill points for days. Grab this as well, why not? And let's go to the Palace of the Sun. I think I'm gonna have to take the elevator up, so we're just gonna fast travel. And go to the palace, and I guess there's like a post scene now, maybe? I wonder if we're gonna see the Karja folks and the Nora together, or if that's just something that's not gonna happen.
The only that tried to kill our son king, traitor's the whole tribe.
We're letting the Asaram take their ball. They'll give him a rap on the knuckles and let him go.
Data point about the old king.
Always the ones you least expect causing trouble.
Aloy, what brings you to Meridian?
A threat. Helis commands a legion of fanatics called the Eclipse, with an army of... It will...
Wait,
I'm
what?
trying to...
Meridian,
Perhaps... Yes.
and have this...
Wait, what?
Aloy, if we're to fight together,
Then-
even now,
I don't know...
Oh, damn. So it literally fucking rewinds things. Like, it brings the quest back. So, in theory, couldn't I just, like, play this quest indefinitely and just keep getting skill points and experience until I'm topped off? I mean, I like that it restored, but, yeah, that doesn't seem that much different from me literally just reloading a previous save. The only difference is I keep all of my goodies, but... Anyway, we are going to wrap this one up here. As I mentioned, there'll probably be some streams in the future because I still have but tons of side quests to do. I mean, there's a ton in here alone. There's a couple areas that I haven't... I mean, there's corrupted zones I can do still. There's side quests over here. There's the camps, the bandit camps. I can do those still. So there's definitely quite a bit of content left. The Hunter's Lodge, that's definitely some stuff I want to tackle, but... For the walkthrough, at least, we are wrapped up. So, hope you guys enjoyed the journey of Horizon Zero Dawn. Definitely the best game I have played so far this year. And we will catch you guys whenever we stream the free roam content. And aside from that, we'll catch you guys with the next game we tackle.